Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. Cannabis has definitely made a mark. I mean, it's been around for many years, but it's definitely on the radar of many people because it's helping people feel so much better emotionally, physically. Same thing to a degree with CBD. We're going to dig deeper into that and learn a lot about what's out there and how it can support you. And that's by way of the first and only certified living wage recreational cannabis dispensary in Canada's capital. What do we mean by that? Well, they pay their employees what it really costs to live, as opposed to the minimum wage, which I think we'd all agree in any area, whether it's Canada or the United States, you can't live on that. So very respected in terms of what they're doing up there at goodnaturedcannabis.ca. And we've got the owner, founder, Clayton Armstrong, joining us today. Hey, buddy, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks again for having me.
Good having you here. And I'm loving that we can just get some information out there. You know, people might be on the fence. Maybe people have an aversion. I don't know about this cannabis stuff. You know, it's going to, I'm going to feel this like crazy high, but I really want to feel better. And I've heard that it can help me, you know, emotionally, maybe deal with anxiety, physically, and challenges like that. I'd love to start with the difference between, because some of your products do contain some CBD, the difference between CBD and THC. Could you break that down for us?
For sure, yeah. First off, I want to say I'm not a doctor.
Sure.
So
same here.
This is just my personal experiences, what I've, read and researched, and then just sort of what I see happening with, our customers and in people's lives with it. But CBD is the non-psychoactive compound found in cannabis, which is touted to have a lot of health benefits to it. So, number one, if someone's taking a CBD product that is THC-free, you don't have to be worried about getting high. It is non-psychoactive. There is no sort of inebriation of any kind with it. What people sort of say CBD is really helpful for is anti-inflammation properties to it. It seems to be having with a lot of people. I personally know someone who cycled across the country. One of my former employees when I managed a sports store, and he cycled from Victoria Island off the coast of Vancouver to my house in Ottawa here, which is it's basically the whole way across the country. He took one rest day and biked 150 kilometers a day to reach my house. And not a cannabis user, but he said he knows his body inside and out. And he said the reason he did it was with CBD, the anti-inflammation properties, that he was able to cycle nonstop. He did take one day off, and that was in Kelowna, BC, where he lived. He decided to stop there for a day, but other than that, he did not stop all the way to my house.
Wow.
So, athletes are taking it for that sort of muscle recovery and anti-inflammation properties. Also, there is some sort of, people are saying, effects on the mental health. So anti-anxiety properties, mood stabilization, some people are finding. There's a lot of studies out in the States that say for pets the exact same thing. So separation anxiety, things like that, people are giving them this CBD oil. Very important when you're giving your pet CBD that it has absolutely no THC in it. It is really toxic to dogs, but so a hemp product that derives the CBD from hemp would be great. And then we're also starting to isolate compounds within CBD, such as CBC, CBN, and those compounds we're just starting to learn about it, so it's really interesting. CBG seems to be an amplifier, so whatever it's put with, it seems to amplify the effects it has. So if CBG is put with THC, it seems to amplify the effect of the THC. If it's put with CBD, it seems to amplify the effect of CBD. CBC, another compound that was, recently isolated. They tout to have some sort of immune boosting properties to it as well. So people are really starting to take that to boost their immune system. So yeah, exciting times, because we're, when it was the Schedule 1 drug, you weren't allowed to even research it. So now that has been lifted, we're starting to learn about the medical benefits. So CBD is that non-psychoactive, doesn't give you a high, sort of more on the medicinal side of things, I would say.
So I'm on your website. Love it, by the way. Lots of details, and you break it down. The difference, or the amounts of CBD and THC in the products. Now, I know somebody that takes gummies to sleep better.
Right.
And I'm going through your website, and I'm wondering, if I can find something similar. But just so there's better understanding of that, I believe what they're taking is 25 milligrams of CBD and 5 milligrams of THC. So kind of the reverse of maybe what we're talking about here.
Right.
How would that support somebody in terms of sleeping? And I'm just using it as a basic example.
So what a lot of people, there's another compound called CBN that's been sort of related to the sleep aspect. So we have a lot of CBN, CBD, CBN, THC, CBD products. So for myself personally, I tried sort of this CBD, CBN to help me sleep. It didn't do much for me unless it was paired with THC. So it makes sense that your friend is sort of using a combination of the two. I find it really helps when there's a little THC. That's for me personally. Mm-hmm. It really helps me with sort of that sleep and staying asleep. So oils and edibles are better at helping you stay asleep. So if you have trouble going to sleep, it might not be the best thing. But if you have trouble staying asleep, that's when those sort of edible compounds are really going to help, because they last longer. Sort of throughout the night, it will be helping you. To get to sleep, you might want to think of some other options to help you get asleep. So I always ask people, is it staying asleep or going to sleep? That's the problem. So, but yeah, that ratio makes sense, and there's so many different ratios. We're all different, and we're all going to react differently. So we always tell people, go low, go slow, and then, if you have the option to work with a physician, I mean, if you're taking it for medical purposes, really, really, you should be doing it with a doctor. Definitely not coming and asking us rec guys. We'll always lead you in the way that what we know and steer you in the direction. But there's no one better than a doctor that knows about the product, and there are more and more of them. It was very hard to find a doctor that would even prescribe cannabis, but now they're starting to learn more, which then gives them more sort of faith in prescribing it. So,
I love what you said. Go low and go slow. It's so true.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can't take away edibles. It's not like when you consume it through like smoking or vaporizing. If you do too much, you're going to be fine. In 15 minutes, you'll be fine. 15, 20 minutes, you'll start to waver off. But if you eat too much, you're in for it. So
great. Let's go there, because I had this conversation with somebody literally last night over dinner. Not even kidding. So it's my understanding that many people think, well, you know what, better to take something on an empty stomach because it's going to go right into my system. But I've also heard too that if you have food in your stomach, especially something that contains some fat, that it goes in way faster. But call it an edible. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I honestly don't have it definitely hits you differently on an empty stomach to a full stomach. Mm-hmm. And that is part of when you're figuring out sort of what you need as an individual. there's those variables that are kind of sometimes hard to track. But yeah, I always say take something on a full stomach. It's just your whole body's going to process it easier, in my mind. So I always, if I was to take a Tylenol, I'd want to take it on a full stomach too. So I always sort of take it with food. I don't try to take it on an empty stomach ever. And also coconut oil is one of the main oils that they use is like MCT or a coconut oil in these capsules and tinctures. And coconut oil can be a little bit rough on some people's digestive system. So that's why I always say it's good to take with food too. Coconut oil can run through some people, if you know what I'm saying. So there are a few that use other carrier oils, but they are few and far between. MCT and coconut oil is the major sort of carrier oil for the product for THC and CBD.
Wow. All right. Learning a lot here. The perception that somebody takes THC, maybe for sleep, pain management, whatever the reason is, but then they think, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to be high. I just want to feel better. How do you address that?
Well, that's, again, I would say, THC, it's hard to not feel an effect. You can take lower doses that will help, and little tiny bits sometimes can be really helpful, especially with sleep and pain management. So I always just say, again, low and slow. Figure out where that is, where you start to feel it, and you don't want to feel uncomfortable. But for me, if I take a Tylenol 3, I feel that, and it makes me feel uncomfortable too. So I ride dirt bikes. I'm an enduro guy. I broke my leg. I went to the doctor, and I said, I don't want an opioid. I want just to be prescribed THC because it works. I know it does. And my doctor refused to subscribe THC because she didn't know about it. Now, she was honest, and she said the only reason I won't do it is because I just don't have the knowledge, which is fair. But they still were willing to give me a prescription for an opioid. So that's where I said no thank you, and I just self-medicated, which is absolutely wrong. And I don't, tell anyone to do that, but I did it, and it was just, I can't wait until doctors start learning more and prescribing this more rather than sort of an opioid.
Right.
I think there's a lot less side effects and I think we can work with that sort of THC not inebriating you, whereas I take a Tylenol 3, I feel it.
I'm right there. So. I'm on your page with that. I try to take as little as possible, especially when it comes to medication. And there's even sometimes, doctors say, well, you've take an antibiotic. I'm like, okay. And as a matter of fact, I'll laser this, but a few weeks ago, call it 3 weeks ago, I came down with a virus. I never get sick. I know where it came from. I was traveling with a coworker. They were coughing. I'm like, dude, what's up? And he's like, it's an allergy. It wasn't. I had a fever for almost 4 days, had acute laryngitis, so I couldn't even talk, so I couldn't work. Yeah, it hit me pretty hard. And the doctor said, well, you know what? I'm going to give you also an antibiotic just in case, mucus settles on your chest, and we don't want that to turn into pneumonia. I took it for 1 day, but my gut said, I'm feeling okay. I don't want to go there. And I literally took it for a day, and that's it, because I don't want to take extra stuff, and especially if it's not holistic or natural. What we're talking about here, CBD, THC, is, right? There's some things that are manufactured, and then we can go down the rabbit hole of Delta 8 and 9, et cetera. But by and large, we're talking about this is holistic, and this is how people have healed for centuries, hundreds of years, right?
Absolutely. The disservice we've done to ourselves by making it and stigmatizing it as as poison, and the campaigns of the the 30s and the 40s. We've all seen Reefer Madness. Absolute joke.
Thanks for that reminder. I haven't heard that in, I can't even tell you how long. That's so funny.
Oh, yeah, the kids won't know what we're talking about, but,
right.
We were at the tail end of Reefer Madness, and it was just this. You're going to end up in a basement, pregnant and unemployed if you take this plant. But for forever, it was used and not abused in a lot of cultures. Japan was one. Until World War II, cannabis was legal in Japan.
Really?
And yeah, absolutely. And people were taking it, and it was absolutely not a problem. But when the United States won in World War II and took over the security of Japan, it suddenly became, as it was in America, absolutely poison, illegal, jail sentences, and things like that. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, the stuff you learn, I had no idea. But it was always, it was not approved or legal in the United States?
No, the history, I've learned about it. It was definitely seemed to be to put a certain group of people in jail. From what I've read, over half the prison population in the States is in jail for cannabis, which is insane. That's staggering, right?
Wow.
So it's, you're changing, and your views on it are changing. I don't know if the new administration that'll take over, I don't believe that is a priority in any way, shape, or form with them. So I don't know when you federally might change that, but who knows? Who knows? It could be sooner than later. I hope it is. So that we can get rid of these stigmas and actually study this medicinal plant that has been used, as you said, for centuries until sort of the last one is when we stopped using it, and now we're back. So
sure.
I think it has a ton of benefits for people, and it's we're really lucky to have it sort of at our fingertips now, and have safe supply, which is another thing that a lot of people don't talk about. The illegal market, they're going to use whatever they can to make sure those crops come in. And if that's a banned pesticide or, a fertilizer with heavy metals in it, they don't care, So just a clean supply now is something that we're all really grateful, and will help the medicinal side of things as well, because government-tested products with government-tested levels and proven levels of CBD and THC in them. So you always know what you're going to get. We're just really lucky up here to have it.
So also lucky is that you are the only certified living wage recreational cannabis dispensary in Canada's capital. Yeah. I don't want to run out of time, but I want to make sure that we highlight that because it's a big deal. What does that mean?
It means every single person that works in my store makes enough to live, and that is determined by a governing body here, and it's not minimum wage, it's what it costs to live. And I have a lot of owners of businesses who are slaves to their business, and I say most of that is because they do not have people in place that they can trust to run that company. And if you pay your staff enough to live, it's amazing how much you can trust them, how much they trust you, and they'll go to bat for you and your company because you're going to bat for them. And I think that's really what everyone needs to take away. I don't want to be a slave to my business. I want to be able to go away with my family and enjoy life. And because I pay people enough to live, I know that they're going to take this job seriously. They take, the rules seriously. They won't jeopardize my company or their job because it can't be replaced. Whereas a minimum wage job, there's another one right down the street. There's another one over here, right? There's no value to them to keep their job or to work hard. So I really the empowering has been amazing with the staff. The ownership they take on the company is just I couldn't ask for more. I have the best manager. I have the best staff. They absolutely have taken me where I am. You know, I had the vision. They're the ones implementing it, you know, and then the customers, you know, actually appreciate it. And you can market that you're a good person. And that's kind of sad, but it's the truth, is consumers are now realizing more and more that if they want a better place, a better community, that these are the steps we need to take. We all need to shop at Living Wage, and that's what, I don't care if you shop at my store or not, but shop at a local store. Shop at your local store. Someone who does it great, who treats their employees well, whether that's a hairdresser or a doctor or an insurance broker. I don't care. Just support local. Support people who support your community and support you.
Well, it comes down to one simple concept. You show you care for your employees by paying them what they need to live, as opposed to minimum wage that just doesn't even come close.
Right.
And they care about you.
Yeah.
Simple.
It's amazing, eh?
Amazing. And
it's so common sense to me, but it's just not done very often.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, I have much respect for you and what you do and your team. Like, it speaks volumes in terms of it's not that you're trying to run a business and make money and put it all into your pocket. You take care of people in many different ways. You're taking care of the people that support you and your business as employees, but you also take care of the people that support your business as customers, because you're literally taking care of them, making them feel better by making your products available. So it's a win all around. And by the way, you being in Canada, I know that you are welcoming, would love to welcome or even start a conversation with even anybody here from the States that might be interested in aligning with what you do, maybe supporting what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe being a partner. Who knows? You're doing good stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Or if they just want help on have questions about opening in your state. I might not know your state laws and things like that, but I can tell you some of the pitfalls I've run into and help guide you towards your dream as well, you know. So,
sure. And it runs deep. You know, put the state regulations aside, and every state has a different one. So put that aside for a second.
Same here. Every province is different.
Right.
So.
I get confused. I don't even know. But when it comes to the product, you know your product and what sells, and just the education, as we, in just a few minutes here today, trying to educate people on what CBD is, THC, and how it can support and make them feel better. The website, share that with everybody.
goodnatureCannabis.ca is our website. Please, take a look, see what's available. We can't mail order, so it's a local thing, but check it out just because it's a lot of fun to see all the products that are available up here in Canada. It's amazing.
And it's an education because, if you can't buy it, through mail order, obviously, if you're in the States, you can somewhere near you, but at least you learn about it. And of course, if anybody wants to do their thing with you by way of the States, you're there. I'm sure that they can contact you through the website, right?
You got it. For
Beautiful.
Sure. There's contact in there.
Awesome. Clayton, thanks for being here today. Thanks for all the insight.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for having me again.
All right, we'll catch up soon. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Woo! Let's get crazy!
In movies, when someone at a party jumps into a pool fully dressed, everyone cheers them on and jumps in too. Just so you know, in real life parties, nobody jumps in after you. You just look stupid.
Come on, jump in! Come on!
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.